Welcome to CS1102 Programming 1. This is the Unit 1 lecture, Part 1. During this lecture, we're going to cover a demonstration of how to use NetBeans to set up a simple Java project. And in fact, we're going to set up the project for the Unit 1 assignment, which is the assignment is to create the gravity calculator program. Before we get into that, I just wanted to cover a couple of minor things about technology requirements and standards. So one of the things that we recommend for this course is that students use the NetBeans integrated development environment. An integrated development environment is pretty simple. It's simply an application where they've put together an editor with a compiler and all of the other elements necessary to compile, to edit, create, compile, link, test programs in a specific language, in our case Java. So that's essentially the function of the integrated development environment. And there are many different integrated development environments that we can use for Java. We are going to use, or at least we recommend that we use, NetBeans in this course. And the reason we want to use NetBeans is because it simplifies the installation process a little bit. When I use NetBeans, it includes the Java development kit, which is an essential part of the an essential component for doing Java development. And so all you have to do is download the installation distribution for NetBeans, and you get the JDK along with it. Now, if you have not installed this on your local computer, then I would recommend that you go to the course page, and there's a number of links and information out there with tutorials that give you a lot of detail on and walk you through the process of downloading the NetBeans code and installing it and getting it up and running. So we're going to assume that you've already done that. Another option that we offer to our students is what we call the Virtual Computing Lab environment. And the Virtual Computing Lab will allow a student that has access to a personal computer, but perhaps not a dedicated one or one that they can install software on. So as long as it has an internet browser that is capable of running Java applets, then you can get access to the Virtual Computing Lab, which provides all of the tools necessary for all of the computer science courses at the University of People pre-installed. So it makes it very, very convenient. In fact, we're going to be using the Virtual Computing Lab for the demonstration today. The third environment I'll just briefly mention is the use of the programmer.com website. And for those students who are going to access the material of this course primarily from a mobile phone or from a mobile tablet device, the programmer.com site gives you the ability to complete pretty much all of the programming assignments that we would have in this course, and do so exclusively from a mobile device such as a phone or from a tablet. So let's kind of jump right into this, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go out and look at the website for the course. You can see this is our course website CS1102 Programming 1. And what I wanted to do was just kind of call your attention down here to this link. So this is the link for the Virtual Computing Lab environment. In fact, I think I can make that a little bit bigger so you can see what it looks like. There we go. So if I were to click on this, essentially what's going to happen is it's going to start up the Virtual Computing Lab environment, and we're going to get access to that. Now, the first thing I would ask you to do when you get into this environment, if you're going to use the Virtual Computing Lab environment, is to go in and click on this Advanced Settings button and make sure that the mode setting is set to Portal. There are two settings, one of them desktop, one of them is Portal. We want to make sure that we use Portal, and the reason why is because Portal is going to have a much better user experience. Another point is that if you need to log in, you just need to simply find your name in the list. If you do not have your name on the list in here, then you can send an email to your instructor and ask him to get you an account on it. And they should be able to take care of that relatively quickly. If you need to have access very quickly, don't have the time to request an account, or you need to get access before then, just know that there are a number of different guest accounts out here dedicated to specific courses, and these guest accounts will have access to all of the tools that you might need to have for a particular course. The only thing I would point out is that when using these guest accounts is that everyone has access to them, so you may not want to leave your personal material out there or your programs, etc. You might want to make sure that you kind of take them off from that environment. If you do want to use one of the guest accounts, The password for it is UOPEOPLE, so kind of our abbreviation of University of the People, and it is the password for every one of the guest accounts out there, so it makes it pretty convenient for you to get access to them. So I'm just going to log in. Now, when your menu comes up, what we want to look for out here is we're going to be looking for the NetBeans item in the menu, because we're going to want to bring up the NetBeans environment. So I'm just going to go right ahead and bring up the NetBeans environment. Click on it. And then we want to go through and create a project. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on File, and we're going to click on New Project, and it'll come up with this dialog. We want to make sure that we select Java for the category and Java application for the project. Now, what's different about this is that Java application is designed to create a relatively simple Java application that interacts with the console, but it does not have typically access to all of the advanced GUI or graphical user interface components. So it's pretty simple, and this particular selection is going to be sufficient for a vast majority of the projects that we're going to do in this course. We're going to want to give it a name of the project, and so in this particular case the project that we are going to be creating is the Gravity Calculator, so we'll give it the name Gravity Calculator. I want you to then look at this Browse button down here. Essentially, what this is asking us is to determine the location where we are going to keep our project, all of the files and things that we are going to be working on from a development perspective. And so what I would ask you to do is click on the browse key here, and then make sure that you select Documents. The Virtual Computing Lab will always save things that are put into the Documents folder. However, if you put it into other folders, I can't ensure that those files will be there when you come back looking for them. So if you need those files, you want to keep them, and you want to make sure that you can come back later and continue working on this project, then you need to make sure that you go in and select the Documents folder. We also need to make sure that these two selection boxes are checked. One of them creates a local main and sets that as a main project. Now, I know in your reading you probably read a little bit about the fact that there are some issues with some of these integrated development environments in that they do not like to use a default package. And that is the case with NetBeans. And so we will select these two to get around that particular problem. So as long as you follow the instructions that I'm providing, we'll probably have no problem whatsoever. And this will work for the majority of the projects we'll do in this course. So just kind of follow this instructions to create the new project. And then what we're going to do next is, as you notice, it's gone out and it's actually created and defined a package for our application. It's defined a class of main and a main method out here. So right here in this main method is where we're going to put most of our program code. And if you recall the instructions from the assignment, we were to go out and cut and paste this code into our system. So we just want to take the stuff that we were already given, cut, paste it, and then we're going to compile and run it. You see, one of the challenges that we have with cutting and pasting in here is that it doesn't always necessarily wind up keeping everything lined up. One of the reasons we like to try to keep all the code lined up is it helps us to understand blocks and where the blocks are positionally. So particularly as it relates to what is within different sets of braces, because as you know, braces within Java define what a block is. So we've done this, we've kind of went in there, we've cut and pasted our code in. This green button up here will actually do a compile, a build, and an execute of the code. So as long as there are no errors in our code, it should be able to compile and execute the code as it exists right now. And you can see that our code was built successfully. That means they were able to compile it and link it, and we were able then to run it, and it came out with output right here. So this is essentially the starter code that we're giving, and really the assignment that we're given this week is to kind of be able to go out and build the calculation that will actually calculate the rate of descent or how far it's going to fall. So I went out there and I kind of did that, and I created this equation. So I'm going to copy this and paste it into our code just to give you an idea of how you would have to complete this assignment. Alright, we have successfully copied and pasted our code in here, and so now that we've modified our program, we can compile it again and see what kind of results we get. And so what you see there is we were able to successfully build and execute our program, and we now know that our output is basically 509.5 meters. So this gives you a good sense of how to build a project using NetBeans. You notice that we have a main.java file out here, and this is essentially where our code is being placed into. And I can use the same procedure for pretty much all of the applications that we're going to be doing in the upcoming weeks. One thing I would point out is that we are going to start using something called the textio.java file. And so one of the things you would have to do with the textio.java file is to come in here and add a new Java class. And so the way that you would deal with that textio file is you'd come in here, you would right click, add a new Java class, and then just bring in the code for that. I believe you can also upload it as well. So you can kind of play around with that and bring that code into the environment so that you'll have access to those functions. But this gives you a sense for the process you're going to need to go through to create a Java project in NetBeans, compile it, link it, run it, and be able to complete your assignment, because all you'd have to do at this point is copy the code and paste it into your assignment, and then copy this output that we have right here and paste that as well as into your assignment, and you'd be done.